Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com, and welcome to This Week in Prophecy. This week we've got BRICS currency, cluster bombs, the Dutch, the movie The Sound of Freedom, and we'll close with some blasphemy. We're going to jump right into it. Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 18, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them on the day of the wrath of the Lord. In the fire of his jealousy, all the earth shall be consumed. For a full and sudden end he will make of all the inhabitants of the earth. A little prophecy about what's coming to planet Earth at some point here. What appears to be in the near future with the current trend and trajectory humanity's on. And Russia announced over the weekend the BRICS countries, that'd be Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they are moving forward with a gold-backed currency. And the big announcement is officially slated for next month, August 2023 in South Africa. So, now mind you, it's a big deal because the United States dollar is backed by the good word of the United States federal government. That's worth something, isn't it? This has actually got some real backing with commodities like gold. And they're looking to bring other partners in, like the Saudis, have oil backing and silver. And that's completely different than the way things are done in the West, especially here in the United States. Now, this is the original article right here, benzinga.com. It was the first Western news outlet to report this. They got it from RT out of Russia. That's a state-backed news agency, RT, out of Russia. Not a whole lot more than what I typed up there previously, but if you guys want to take a deeper look at this particular article, see who's getting together, and, another tweet that came out, BRICS planning to introduce new trading currency backed by gold at August summit. Gold standard will be a great benefit to strengthening single currency. And these central banks in these countries have been just buying gold like crazy. 41 countries have applied for BRICS membership. Now, I saw something today in the news. India seemed to be a little wish-washy. Maybe we won't. We're not sure. But that I is for India and BRICS. And, all these were tweets and pictures from RT. Gold standard will be of great benefit to strengthen single new currency, new money, new world, introduce new trading currency. Russian embassy was putting out tweets. BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency, which will be backed by gold. So, again, just pulling the main highlights from the article, pointing these things out. Following markets since the beginning of the week, gold's done really nothing, which very interesting. Some would suggest it's being manipulated. I know some of the Wall Street banks have been fined for doing that. I think it was JP Morgan. I think JP Morgan got in trouble for manipulating some commodities and the price of those and so forth. But check this out. For those of you who want to deeper dive into this topic, I recommend this, and, just keyword BRICS currency, South Africa. Plenty of stuff will show up. And they've got, up to 41 countries. And this stuff's been tried in the past against the United States. Now, in the past, it was single countries, smaller countries. Iraq, Saddam Hussein tried it. Now, he ended up dead. Now, the story was because of weapons of mass destruction. But he also wanted to break away from the dollar. That was probably his biggest crime. Same with Muammar Gaddafi. He wanted to do the same thing. Obama took him out, said, can't blame the United States for, being a partisan issue. Both Democrats and Republican administrations will do what they need to do to defend the almighty dollar. So, W. Bush did it. Obama did it. You can bet your bottom dollar Biden is going to do it too. Now, he may not do it, but whoever's pulling his strings will do it. But this time it is a little different. And I know that phrase gets you in trouble sometimes, but you've got 41 countries along with the original 5 members. And their combined GDP is now greater than the G7. So this is a unique challenge. What's getting ready to happen here. And we've got about 4 to 6 weeks maybe before this starts to be rolled out. James Rickards. I know some of you folks may have seen him on CNBC, Fox Business News. Wildly interesting guy. Very well worth listening to when he starts talking. And he put out a tweet. Biden is now a world historic figure. He has destroyed the dollar. Not an easy task. A BRICS gold-linked currency will be previewed August 22nd to be implemented in stages. Shanghai Cooperative Organization has 8 members, 4 kind of standing in the wings. Will merge with the BRICS. Others will join. I'm keeping my eye on the SCO. Maybe that gets to 10 at some point. Still waiting for that to emerge out there. It would be the 10-nation federation. And where the really bad guy will come from. So who knows? So a lot of people still think that'll come from a revived Roman Empire. I'm open to any scenario at this point. It wouldn't surprise me we would get one of these deals where we would have multiple 10-nation federations emerge at the same time just to create some more confusion. But, whatever's coming is going to be good because Satan knows his time's limited. So, the point being is dollars will still be around, but marginalized. So I would think the value of the dollar is getting ready to take a pretty good hit once this starts going. Now that's assuming that the BRICS currency is successful. Prophetically, if this is the time we all think we're in, and we are edging closer to the return of Christ, could be. Just remember, the United States is nowhere to be seen in the Bible, let alone the prophetic end time scenario. So, way to go, Joe. Thanks, Joe. Jim Rickards recognizes your accomplishments. Now, he has a target, by the way. Rickards has a $15,000 price target on an ounce of gold by 2025. So that's like a year and a half away, 2 years away. He thinks gold could go as high as $15,000. I mean, that is a 7-fold rip from where we are now. Actually, a little more than 7-fold. We're sitting around $2,000 an ounce right now. Got a lot of friends who've gobbled up some silver. Silver's sitting in and around the $24, $25, $23 an ounce target. Historically, silver has an all-time high of about $48 an ounce. That gets real interesting if it blows through that, blows to 95. But you throw a 8-fold price target on silver, and you're looking at $160 an ounce. We're talking crazy inflation if that happens. Just think of all the electronics that we enjoy in today's world that have silver in them, with semiconductors, technology pieces, TVs, cell phones. Well, any kind of electronic device has some silver in it. And the ratio historically, gold to silver, is ridiculously out of whack. So, if silver ever takes off, watch out. Now, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she recently she flew to China. Now, Blinken, Secretary of State Blinken was just over there a few weeks ago. Now, she made her statement in China. Now, check her out. She makes it, wants everybody to know, in Beijing, China. The Department of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, now speaking. And she got a question about, a future gold-backed currency led by the BRICS. Now, she just tried to pass it off. She also stated made it very clear that 90% of global transactions are in dollars, and the dollar will continue to be the world's reserve currency. She's not too worried about it. And I know the administration is not too worried about it, and the Fed and the Treasury, they're not worried about it. And, we talked about this within the month on one of this week's in prophecy. Pride comes before the fall. We are an arrogant bunch over here in the United States. We think we're invincible, especially when it comes to economics. And that's what's driving a lot of this new currency with the BRICS. The world is tired of the United States manipulating its currency and using currency as a weapon and destabilizing other countries and economies and manipulating things to our advantage. We're not nice. We don't play nice. We're like the little bully in the sandbox on the playground, and people are fed up with it. And, in the past, we've done some things to other countries. I mean, what are we can't declare war on the whole world. Well, I don't think we can. We have some people who might be crazy enough to try it right now in leadership. But going back to Yellen, this is from Dave Shuck. I don't know Dave, but I thought he had some pretty good comments. Yellen does her best to dismiss questions about the Russian government's announcement regarding the release of the new BRICS gold-backed currency for trade settlement. She doesn't mention that her recent trip to China was to beg them not to move forward. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. And they're selling government debt, U.S. government debt like crazy too, changing it to converting it and buying gold with it, And with that, we're going to transition to the Ukraine. Cluster bombs are going to Ukraine. President Biden has announced another military package. This is from Tinder. We'll show a little bit more. We'll show a list of what was released over there to the folks in Ukraine. I'm not going to go through all of these military equipment. Now, this is what's interesting. Biden tried to stumble his way through 155 millimeter rounds, artillery rounds, and apparently we're running low on that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that. Checkmate and I have been discussing the events regarding the specifics of what's going to Ukraine and the concern that we as a country, the United States, we know Ukraine's running out of ammunition, but the fact that the United States is running out of ammunition. And in some circles, the thought is Russia can produce ammunition faster than the United States. But anyway, we'll discuss that later in an upcoming event of the Watchman. More HIMARS missiles and units, Patriot missile batteries, Stinger missiles, mine clearing, TOW missiles, Javelin missiles. I mean, more artillery, 105 millimeter artillery ammunition, UAVs, more aerial munitions, drones with the ability to do stuff, and all kinds of other stuff. Here's some of the pictures of that. And this was interesting. So I put this out. I was accused of being a Russian and blocked by some on Twitter. Red-blooded American. Sorry. Somebody miscalculated that. The tally of the little weapons program is $800 million. And the thing that is happening, weapons are escalating in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are running low on ammunition. It appears the United States has a dwindling supply of arms. And when that happens, we're not really willing to slug it out, but we'll just go to knock out more stuff with more powerful weapons in the escalation. The concern being that we end up in a nuclear exchange. And again, Checkmate and I will be talking about that. We had some developing stories today in regards to NATO, Sweden, Turkey, Erdogan sticking his nose in the middle of this and doing some very Erdogan type things. Here's if you want to see, this is from CNN. Biden's trying to communicate. And he stated they're running out of that ammunition and we're low on it too. There was another video I didn't put up there, but he was walking out from an event and you could just see the guy. It was one of those situations where he was thinking, people were peppering him with questions. The press was hitting him with questions. Hey, why are you sending cluster bombs over there? So, what are you doing at? And he kind of mutters. Well, he doesn't mutter. He says it out loud. It's just one of those things he was thinking it, and he didn't have the filter to stop it. Yeah, because we're running out of ammunition, and not something you want to be admitting, I would think, on a global stage. I've heard Trump make some comments about it. He thinks we're running low on ammunition, but you can listen to Joe's comments. There are plenty of stuff out there where Joe's talking about it. And then also 2 years ago, or even less than that, Jen Psaki, the press secretary at the time, she lectured us and lectured the Russians about how using cluster bombs was illegal. Well, year or 2 years later, we're doing it. We conveniently forgot about how illegal that was, but it is what it is. So keep an eye on the continued escalating events in Ukraine, in and around Russia. And we're going to transition to the Dutch. And the reason I pulled up Revelation 6, verse 6, is the idea of hyperinflation. Specifically, we're talking about food. A quart of wheat for a denarius, a day's wage. 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, a day's wage. Do not harm the oil and wine. And that's one of the hallmarks. For those of you who've followed the posts and the blog for quite a while, we talk about this frequently, in that one of the hallmarks leading into the early parts of the tribulation, we have the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Hyperinflation is one of the things that's going on and taking place here on planet Earth at that time. Now, these things typically just don't show up in and of themselves by a vacuum, and we trend toward whatever. And so it's like the idea of a trend update. We are trending. Anybody who's lived around this planet for the last 18 months knows that we have inflation. And we're doing all kinds of stupid stuff around the planet to continue to see inflation. And another example of this is in Holland. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, mispronounced it. Please excuse me. And his government has resigned. Now, on the surface, immigration policy is the primary consideration. Now, the prime minister was also trying to confiscate about 3,000 private farms. Now, connecting the dots, these 3,000 private farms, as we'd talked about previously, had to do with too much nitrogen consumption, and they were abusing the environment with their chemical practices and farming and greenhouse gas emissions and blah, 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 blah. But others, I'd be in this camp, think that this was a land grab, and this was his solution for all the immigrants coming into Holland. Hey, let's just take this private land away from these farmers, and we're going to put these immigrants on there and have them do the farming. They're not. And you think that these immigrants coming from North Africa, what farms are taking place in North Africa? That's like one of the biggest swaths of sand on the planet. Not a lot of vegetation growing over there where these folks are coming from. Not that they're not trainable, but I don't see it. Keep in mind, Netherlands is the second largest food exporter in the world, behind only the United States. And it is a 100 billion euro business. I mean, this is big business, and this is one of the main forms of business and economic export that takes place in Holland. The Dutch grow a lot of food and export it to Europe. That's a problem if you disrupt that. For those of you interested, we will go to dailymail.com. Dutch Prime Minister resigns after 13 years as his coalition government collapses over internal row about migration policy. Whatever. I like the framing. He's a conservative. No, he's not. He may be conservative over there, but he's not conservative as we see it over here in the United States or in the West. Called the king. He was on vacation, disrupted his vacation to let him know, hey, we're resigning. We're shutting her down. Four-party coalition about how to rein in migration has split nations across Europe. And I mean, they are pouring in from the Mediterranean, from North Africa, just every day. It's like boat after boat after boat continues to go in there into Europe. So Daily Mail does a nice job digging in, getting to the facts as best as they can. So for those who are interested, check it out. See what they have to say. And we're going to stay. Well, no, we're not going to. We're going to. Yeah, we are going to stay there. This is from Michael Jan Jungel. We're going to pull this up and take a look at this. He is America's most experienced combat correspondent, traveled and worked in 91 countries, including various wars and conflicts. Now, he's not buying this, quote, Dutch government collapse. The farmers and people are not standing up enough and are on trajectory to lose the Netherlands to the World Economic Forum and the CCP or China. And I know somebody, you guys are going to read this and like, oh, come on, man, that's a big reach. Just hear the man out. Move against Dutch farmers is far bigger than controlling their local production. The World Economic Forum and the Chinese need their land to create Tri-State City. Tri-State City contains Rotterdam and Antwerp harbors. These are the two biggest harbors, sea harbors in Europe, and two of the biggest, top 10 in the world. Rotterdam is also mouth of the Rhine River and is terminus of the railhead that goes all the way to Shanghai, China. So it's like you start connecting some of the dots with transport of goods and so forth. This, this is very doable. Netherlands is critical terrain to taking Europe. Dutch government recently announced a shutdown of the Groningen gas fields. That's natural gas exploration and development. I was just at Groningen in March looking at this. They did this using little more than information war. Full-on war, Dutch people are scheduled for genocide and replacement by migrant slaves. That'd be the folks coming from North Africa unless they fight. And here's a picture. Who all's involved in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and the big ports. Airport right there is one of the ports. Look into this. See what you think about it. Dusseldorf, Germany, Cologne, Brussels, Belgium, right there. Tri-State City Network. International little hub there. Chew on it. Staying in Holland with the Dutch. Genesis 1 verse 27. So God created man in his own image. That'd be man, mankind, humanity, in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, humanity. Male and female, he created them. So God created, let's see, 1, 2, 3 times God states, I did it. God did it. God created humanity in his image. So God looks like a man. Now that manifestation, we know of that in Christ, in Jesus. Male and female. So, this is fundamental what we're talking about. You look at Satan, what his attacks on. He is attacking creation. Did God really create? Creating doubt. That's what his ploy was with Eve in the garden, or with the woman at the time. Did God really create? Did he really say you would die? I guess he didn't go after that on creation. That's my bad. That's the modern day argument with Darwin's theory of relativity. Did God? Well, we just don't believe God did it anymore. We've gone past questioning whether or not God did it. He doesn't exist in many circles. But anyway, we're talking about two of the most fundamental truths of the Bible. God, yes, there is a God. And yes, God created humanity. And it states God created 3 times. And it says humanity has 2 genders, male and female. Fundamental. Absolutely fundamental. And this weekend, 22-year-old Rikkie Valerie Kolle, that'd be Ricky right there on the left, a biological male, was crowned Miss Nederland. Rikkie will move on to compete in the Miss Universe pageant. Here is the runner-up. She is a beautiful young lady, a biological female. As I understand it, Rikkie was the only biological male participating in this event. What a slap in the face to women. You know, it's like, you're not woman enough. We have to crown a man to show you how to do it. I mean, come on. And this stuff's everywhere. Sign of the times. It is what it is. But again, my point is how it's being attacked. For those of you who want more information, provided a link to TMZ. They covered this. I'm sure they're doing a wonderful job of it. There we go. I'm looking at the pictures of some of these young ladies. I'm not, who knows what they're thinking. I'm not going to go there. I don't know. Rikkie celebrating with the gals. That's Miss Universe, I think. Anyway, I'm not into the pageant scene. I couldn't help you there. I should be. I have an aunt who's very big in the pageant scene. She's coached a Miss America and some Miss Oklahomas, and I'm sure I could get the lowdown on this if I would look into it. So I do have those capabilities, resources at my disposal. But anyway, Rikkie, Miss Nederland. We're going to look at this. I always looked at this verse, Revelation 18, 13b through 14. It's like, Mystery Babylon is about to get theirs. They're facing judgment, and the time frame, the context of this is late in the 7-year tribulation. So it's towards the end, and I got all kinds of people sending me stuff. But we're there. No, we haven't even started. We're not. The 7-year party has not even begun yet. So the context of these verses is towards the end of it, where Mystery Babylon gets their judgment. And specifically, I want to focus on this last part, and slaves, that is human souls. So apparently there is a significant slave trade that takes place during the end time. So again, as a trend, we would expect to see that increase leading up to the time when judgment is pronounced on this nonsense, and which takes us to the mainstream media is having an absolute fit over the movie Sound of Freedom. And my Lord, I mean, Sound of Freedom has sold more tickets than the last Indiana Jones movie. We have got to do something to stop that. And this is from angel.com press. I'll pull this up for those of you who want to see it. Go up here to angel.com/press/Sound of Freedom. You can read all about it. I did pull the film synopsis based on the incredible true story, shines a light on even the darkest of places. After rescuing a young boy from ruthless child traffickers, a federal agent learns the boy's sister is still captive and decides to embark on a dangerous mission to save her. With time running out, he quits his job and journeys deep into the Colombian jungle putting his life on the line to free her from a fate far worse than death. And we hear the slogan from the movie, God's children are not for sale. And, again, another example, as we get closer to his second coming, this verse makes a lot more sense, or this part of the verse. I mean, you get it, cinnamon, spices, wine, oil, fine stuff, cattle, sheep, wheat, horses, chariots, and slaves, that is human souls. So the idea of buying and selling humans, for whether it be for sex purposes, organs, they're doing stuff with blood. There are some sick people out there, just flat out evil. Now the press, this is the thing that blows me away about this. And they have received their marching orders and organized their message. And the press chooses to enable evil. This is from Dr. Grizzly out of Canada, I guess. Never seen anything like this. Coordinated attacks by the media on a film that sheds light on the worst evil, child trafficking, by reducing it to conspiracy. If you ever need a reason to watch this movie, just look how badly they being the press, they don't want you to see it. And just look at this list. Media Matters. Jen Caviezel pushes QAnon as in bizarre media blitz for new anti-trafficking. Everything, and they want to tie this to QAnon. Conspiracy-heavy Disney reject movie. This movie was trumpeted and championed when Disney looked at this, a few years ago, but they never brought it to light. Gee, I wonder why. QAnon Smokescreen. Sound of Freedom is a preachy action film that will put you to sleep if you're lucky. It's like, who thinks that that's a sleepy topic? And again, trying to attach it to QAnon. And listening to CNN had multiple interviews with people about this. MSNBC is doing the same thing. Rolling Stone. And here's some more of it. Chris Mortensen, it's both revealing and disgusting to see pro-childhood sexual slavery and trafficking supporters getting so much airtime and being so blatant about where their preferences lie. There is no other side to this story, just the right side and evil. And here they go again. And it's everywhere. Just type it up, Sound of Freedom News. And that is the modern day media press narrative. We got to tie QAnon into this. Sound of Freedom, the QAnon adjacent thriller seducing America. Rub shoulders with QAnon Jim, Sound of Freedom, anti-child fantasy fit for QAnon. It's like just enabling this stuff. So go see the movie. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm tempted to go see the movie just because of the way the press, it's probably got to be pretty good if the press is going to all this links to try to discourage people from going to it. And we'll close with this. 2 Timothy 4 verse 3, for the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but have itching ears. They will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions. So, idolatry, blasphemy, and I introduce the Sparkle Creed. And it really bothers me to give this nonsense any attention, but I think, here's where we are in time. Now this is an over the top example of 2 Timothy 4:3 and just having, people having their ears tickled and they don't want to listen to sound doctrine or what the Bible has to actually say. But, and then in the backdrop, we also have, the false teaching and the nonsense. We also have 2 Peter 3:4. And, this person's out there talking too. Where is the promise of his coming? For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all continues just as it was from the beginning of creation. It's like, come on, you guys keep talking about Jesus is coming. Where is he? We've been waiting all this time. Where's Jesus? Where's your sky genie? All the nonsense you have to listen to. So I give to you the Sparkle Creed. And there's a video of her saying this. She believes in the non-binary God whose pronouns are plural. She believes in Jesus. Well, so do the demons. Their child, Jesus is the byproduct, who wore a fabulous tunic and had two dads. So Jesus came from a gay couple who saw everyone as a sibling child of God. Well, that's true. We are collectively God's children, and we're brothers and sisters in Christ. Now, she believes in the rainbow spirit, who shatters our image of one white light and refracts it into a rainbow of gorgeous diversity. I believe in the church of everyday saints, as numerous, creative, and resilient as patches on the AIDS quilt, whose feet are grounded in mud. I have no idea what that's about. And whose eyes gaze at the stars in wonder. I believe in the calling to each of us. Here's their phrase, that love is love is love. So, beloved, let us love. I believe, glorious God, help my unbelief. Amen. Okay, we got through that. At any rate, all you folks, and I know this triggers people to hear this, judgment is coming, and it's not a one-off. And just look at the verses that we pulled today that make the claim God will get to a point where he's had enough. And as opposed to the Sparkle Creed, I recommend clicking on this category at the gospel. We got all kinds of information about the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. He died for our sin. The wage, the cost of sin is death. So he died. He paid for it. He shed his innocent blood. That's the currency God operates in. He shed his innocent blood. He died. He paid with his life. Debt paid for in his death. And he rose again. He rose again. That shows he has power. Not only did he die for sin and death, but he has power over it and can come back to life with the resurrection. And that's promised to us too, for those of us who believe in him. We're going to die. Some of us are going to die. Some of us have died. We can't come back to life on our own accord. Once you're dead, you're dead. You don't have the ability to resurrect yourself. God can. And for those of us who are still here, and he comes and gets us, he'll transform us. We'll meet him in the clouds after the resurrected go first. But the day's coming. I don't know when. Watching the world, watching nonsense like this, it would seem to be we're getting closer. So feel free to share this with others. The good news, that is, Jesus is coming back for those who believe in him, either with Jesus or you're against him. Share this from at PaulthePoke.com. This is going to be categorized under gospel. We're going to close with good news. We're not going to close with that sparkle nonsense. Prophecy, trend update. All kinds of stuff going on. All these things, these are categories that we've categorized going back to 2010. Coming up on our 14th year. And we got the fall feasts right around the corner. That's getting ready to kick off here in about 3 weeks. With the 9th of Av, Teshuvah, 40 days before the fall feasts. And, the fall feast will kick off, 40 days or 30 days from the beginning of Teshuvah. So headed into a busy time of the year. Prophetically, things tend to happen in and around the God's appointed feasts. And he has yet to fulfill those fall feasts. So, yes, we're interested. Appreciate you guys taking the time. If you have not become a subscriber, please type in your email address here. Hit subscribe. You'll receive notification every time we put something out. Things were kind of a little slow there for a while, but seemed to be picking up from this last weekend. So, appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. Wish you the best. Take care. Bye.